starting at standing this morning. I'm going to just start to connect to your mat. Bring your feet into alignment with your hips. And in that grounded, connected sense of the feet to the mat. Subtle bend to the knees, just having that little bit of movement there in the body. Allowing the hips to stack over the heels. Roll your shoulders back and down. Bringing shoulders into alignment with your hips. Allow your chin to slightly tuck, the crown of your head pulling up to the ceiling. Just allowing your body to come into alignment here. Just beginning to notice how you feel today. Maybe take a subtle rocking front to back, finding those four corners of your feet. Connection to the mat. Coming back to center and maybe rocking slightly side to side. Just tuning in to those connection points. Points of stability and balance in our body. Those moments where we start to come out of balance and alignment. And where it is that we subtly move back in. Coming to that stillness, that center, balanced in your feet. Turn the palms of the hands to the front of your room. Coming into Tadasana, standing mountain pose. Allow yourself a bit of softness here to begin in this posture. Maybe not stressing the hands, allowing the palms to be a bit soft to begin. Notice the placement of your shoulders. Are they hugged up at your ears, or have you allowed them to relax down and back? Notice the back of your neck. Are you tilting back and creating that pinch in the spine, or is your chin slightly down, neck long, crown of the head pulling up? Space between shoulders and ears. Notice what's happening in your physical body today, how you're carrying yourself. If you're feeling balanced and aligned, or if you're feeling out of sorts. Focus of our practice today is balance work. So we'll be doing the majority of our practice from standing today. Note that if you need a chair or a wall or something at your disposal to be able to use for your balance postures, that you have that near you. Bringing a chair over towards your mat is always a good option. But while you're doing that, just noticing those balance points in your physical body to begin. Take that rocking of the feet forward and back once more. Really begin to connect into those points where you start to come off balance as you start to lean a bit forward and the weight starts to shift into the balls of your feet. And then notice that moment as you drift back where your toes start to want to pull from the mat. You start to push into the heels a bit deeper. Taking this motion front to back here. Pause at that point where the balls of your feet are your weight-bearing point. Where your heels start to feel like they're going to lift from the mat. And maybe they do lift just a couple millimeters off the floor. Noticing that point where you feel like you could spring forward. And start to slowly shift back onto the heels. Pausing there at that point where the toes and the balls of the feet start to feel like they may lift off the floor. You could fall back, taking that trust fall of your own here, trusting that your heels are going to hold you to the floor. Take that rocking forward once again. Being mindful and maybe keeping your eyes open here. Notice if you have your eyes closed, notice if you're experiencing dizziness with this. Often when we have our eyes closed in balanced postures, we can make ourselves a bit dizzy. So if you notice that happening for you, bring the eyes open and fix the eyes on a non-moving point. Maybe that's a point out on the floor in front of you. Maybe it's the top edge of your mat. Maybe it's a spot on the wall. Just finding that drishti point, that point of focal gaze. We'll be using that a lot in this morning's practice with our balance postures. Often where we hold our gaze is where our attention goes. And it allows our body to forget about overcorrecting and just hold steady. Coming back to just balance in the feet, all four corners pressed to the mat here. On your next inhale, reach your arms high. Gaze may follow up. Exhale, take a nice deep forward fold here. Coming down towards the mat, let your head be heavy. Heavy towards the mat, nice deep intentional breath here. See if your exhale drops you a little deeper into your fold. Allowing the vertebra in your back to release a bit here, creating some space in the body. Keeping a subtle bend to the knees. You can take opposite hands to opposite elbows here. And begin to gently rock your body side to side. Gently noticing that stretch that occurs in the hips. It's just our upper body that's moving here. Our feet are planted, keeping us balanced in the posture. Noticing that as your head hangs heavy, that subtle traction that's created in the low back. Allowing for some movement and opening of that soft tissue. Bring yourself to stillness here. Allow the hands to drop towards the mat. Teacupping your fingertips, so letting the fingertips come down to the mat. Begin to pedal your heels slightly here. Lifting onto one set of toes at a time, side to side. Stretching the hips out a bit. Allow the heels to both drop back to the mat. On an inhale, come to a half lift. Place your hands at your shins. Maintain that subtle bend in your knees, but allow your arms to come back along your body a bit here, creating that length between your shoulders and your ears. Mindful of the head, if you notice your gaze coming out in front of you, Drop the tip of your nose back towards the floor here. Keep your neck nice and long. Crown of your head is slightly pulling forward. Tailbone is pressing back. Deep, even, balanced breaths here. Notice where the weight of your body is in your feet. If you notice yourself pressing into the ball of your foot, start to balance yourself out a bit more here. Find that balanced pressure across the sole of the foot. On your next exhale, drop deep into your fold once more. On an inhale, rise high, come up to extended mountain, arms reaching up. Interlace your hands. Turn the fingertips towards the ceiling here. Drop your shoulders down a bit from your ears. Find that space. Belly button pulls to the spine, nice and strong through your core here. On your exhale, start to drift over towards your right. Keep that left foot planted to the floor. Take your gaze up towards the ceiling a bit. Noticing what it feels like in your body this morning to hold yourself in balance here. Your feet are anchored to the mat. Your gaze is up. You need that deep stretch through the side of the body. Next inhale, bring yourself to center. Finding that point where everything is balanced across the feet. Exhale and tip over towards your left. Taking your gaze up. Right foot anchored to the floor. Inhale back to center. Exhale, let your arms come heavy at your sides. Take some shoulder rolls. Inhale up your front body. Exhale down your back. Just preparing the body here for deeper movements. Reverse your direction of your shoulder roll. Coming up the back and down the front. Coming back to a tall neutral spine. Just to warm ourselves up a little more here, we're going to take some half sun salutation A's. Inhale, arms lift high. Exhale, swan dive down towards the floor. Nice deep fold. Inhale, half lift, hands to the shins. Nice long back. Exhale, drop a little deeper. Inhale, rise high, extended mountain. Really press through the soles of your feet. Exhale, hands come to heart center. We're gonna pause at heart center. We're gonna take these nice and slow. Very deliberate in our movements this morning. Inhale, subtle bend to the knees here. Inhale, arms lift high. Exhale, you hinge out from your hips as you dive down through swan dive to the floor. Head is heavy towards the mat when you get there. Inhale, find that half lift. Hands to your shins, shoulders are back from your ears, spine is long, gaze is at the floor. Exhale and drop deep into your fold, head heavy. Subtle bend to your knees. As you inhale, you press down through your feet. As you roll your body back up, hands reach high. Exhale to the heart. 2 more half sun A's, nice and intentional. Inhale up. Exhale, swan dive. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, down. Inhale, rise. Last one on your own breath. Exhaling to heart center. Inhale up. Follow your breathing here, intentional in your movements. Pausing, hands heart center. Walk your feet out here for just a moment. Maybe roll your toes under a bit. Roll out your ankles. Rock your knees. Reestablish that connection to your mat and to the floor here. And begin to come into our first balance pose this morning. So being mindful of the placement of your feet. Check that your hip points are in alignment with your knees and down to your ankles. Hips are centered over those heels. That slight bouncy bend to the knee, just enough to give your body a little bit of movement here so we don't lock our knees back. Setting that drishti, your focal gaze. So picking that point either out in front of you on your mat or the floor or on the wall in front of you. We're gonna come into tree pose. If you need a chair or a wall, go ahead and take that. We're gonna shift our weight into that left foot. Bring the right toes to start just to the arch of the left foot. And what we're looking for here in our right knee and hip is that we want them to open up to the side. So if your knee is closer to center, see if you can't allow it to come out at more of an angle. Check in with your hips here. Do you feel out of alignment? Are you shifted? One hip shifted out. Try to bring them into alignment. Inhale those arms up. Exhaling to heart center. Taking all of the foundational work here today. From here, you can take those toes of the right foot to that left calf, right below the knee here. If this is comfortable and you feel balanced, remembering to take a hand to a chair or to a wall if you need. From there, if you'd like to increase, you can grab that ankle, bring it up to that left thigh. Now here's where the fundamental change in tree happens. When you start to bring that foot up, it's real easy to knock that left hip over to the side and come out of balance. So what we want is this pressing of our hips together. So as this left thigh presses into that right foot presses into the thigh, creating this stable foundation in the body. Setting that drishti on an unmoving target. And from there, either hands at heart center, on something for balance, or reaching the arms up. And noticing that you can come slightly in and out of balance, but remain steady here. Finding your breath wherever you may be. And on an exhale, bring yourself out wherever you are in your tree. Walk your feet out. Allow for release. Roll out the ankles. Give your body a little bit of softening. And we're going to come into tree on the right side. So settling back into the feet, finding that foundation. Left toes to the right arch. Noticing how far that knee kicks out. What feels comfortable for the hip. Arms reach high. Hands heart center. Set your drishti, your focal gaze. You can begin to move that left foot up the right leg to the calf or up to the thigh. Being mindful not to place the foot across the knee. If you place the foot across the knee, it sends the whole body out of alignment. It can just completely knock that joint over. So we want to make sure that we're pressing at the soft points of our body, either our calf muscle or up on our thigh. But making that connection, that press of that soft tissue, the muscle on this side to the foot on the other, creating that connection. And then if you're ready, reaching one or both arms up, spreading your limbs as your tree. Finding that foundation, swaying in and out, dropping in and out. From here, to remove yourself from tree, if you want to do it nice and graceful, you can exhale, take your arms down. I usually sweep mine behind my back, then step your foot off of the thigh or calf. Dropping out. Rolling out the feet, releasing them a bit here. Really working into our balanced postures. We're going to take a few sun A's again, half sun salutation A, just to reset. Inhale up. Exhale, swan dive down. Half lift. Fold deep. Rise high, taking that pause at hand heart center. Again, being very mindful in your movement here. Aware of how your body is moving through space with these. Noticing that connection. That stacking of the body. Finding those points where you feel like you come out of balance. Beginning to shift yourself back in. One more. Pausing, hands heart center. Take that subtle rocking front to back on the feet once more. Noticing those points where you start to lift up onto the ball of the foot or the toes and back to the heels. Coming to center and taking that side to side. Noticing when you push out to the edges of your feet or drop into your arches a bit. Bring yourself back to center. I'm going to turn to the side of the mat so this is a little easier to see. I'm going to keep that nice subtle bend in your knees. You can take a little bounce here if you'd like. This actually helps to relax the nervous system a little bit. Maybe shake your arms out. Let's just take this bounce here for a second. And come back to stillness. Shake off some of that extra energy. Inhale the arms up. On an exhale, you're going to set yourself back into chair. So taking that bend to the knees. Hips dip back a little further than your heels here. If you can lift your toes from the mat, pressing into the heels and the balls of your feet. So we're still in that alignment of the four corners of our feet being connected. You just lifted the toes. Bring your arms straight out from your shoulders here. Just shoulders drop from your ears. Just find that length in the neck. Keeping the gaze forward. You can go ahead and place your toes back on the mat. Holding your chair pose here. Breathing deeply. Belly button pulls to the spine. Heart pulls towards that wall in front of you. Tailbone presses back and down here. Next, exhale, drop yourself into a nice heavy fold over those knees. Let your neck go heavy. Next, inhale, find that nice active half lift. Go ahead and bring the hands up to the thighs this time. Roll your shoulders and your elbows back along your body and find that length through your back. Check in with the tip of your nose again. Notice if you're glancing out towards the front edge of your mat or if your gaze is directly down at the floor. We want that tip of the nose to connect down to the floor here. Next, exhale, take your fold. Next, inhale, rise high, extended mountain. Exhale your hands to heart center. Inhale up. Exhale, step back in your chair pose. Let those arms come straight out from your shoulders again. Lift your toes. Rooted by those 4 points of the feet. And on an exhale, sweep the arms back along the body. Lift up onto the balls of your feet and your toes. Lift your heels from the mat. Coming into diver. Balancing here, breathing here. That momentum forward, but still solidly planted to the mat. Next, inhale, arms come back forward, straight out from your shoulders, rock back onto those 4 corners of your feet. Toes lift. Breathe deep, strong in your breath. Exhale, arms float back, float onto those toes, heels lift. Stay with it, persevere here, stay in balance. Inhale, arms come forward, rock back to your chair. Exhale, final rock back to your diver. Hold and breathe. Exhale, drop those heels to the floor, drop over into a heavy fold. Hang heavy here for a moment. Next, inhale, rise high to extended mountain. Exhale your hands to heart center. 3 deep, heavy breaths here. Give yourself some relief. Maybe walk out those feet again, rolling out the toes and the ankles. Next, inhale, arms reach high. Exhale, take that nice, deep, heavy fold. Place your hands to the mat, step your feet back, come to down dog. Pedal out in your down dog. Take that subtle bend to your knees, just pressing your belly towards your thighs. Head is heavy towards your mat. Next, inhale, drop yourself to tabletop, hands and knees. Check in that your knees are below your hips, your wrists are below your shoulders. Take some cat-cow here. Inhale, opening across the shoulders. Exhale, rolling back and up. Back at a neutral spine. Inhale, bring that right arm up towards the ceiling, coming into the twist. Exhale, thread that right arm underneath the left, coming down to thread the needle. Dropping your right ear towards the floor. Just giving those shoulders a bit of release here. Next, inhale, bring yourself back up to tabletop. Left arm sweeps high on an inhale, find your twist. Exhale, thread the needle the other direction, sliding under that right arm. Left ear towards the floor. Next, inhale brings you back up to table. Spread your knees wide. Bring your big toes to touch. Drop those hips back towards your heels and slowly let your forehead make its way towards the mat. Coming down to wide-kneed child's pose. You can relax your elbows to the floor here. Deep, intentional, even, balanced breathing. On your next inhale, make your way back up to tabletop. Take some cat-cow when you arrive. From here, bringing yourself to easy seats. Coming into simple seated posture. And when we're balanced here, because we're no longer on our feet, our hips, our sits bones become our feet, so to speak. So noticing those balance points below you here. Setting up nice and tall, letting the shoulders roll back and down. hands to the knees or thighs, and kind of rock yourself across that point. Rocking side to side, noticing, it's a little easier here than maybe even on your feet to notice when you come out of balance. Noticing those points of connection. Returning back to center. Again, noticing that stacking of the body. The shoulders over the hips. The chin slightly tucked so the crown of the head pulls up. This will bring your gaze likely to the front edge of your mat or somewhere on the floor in front of you. Instead of tilting the head back to see forward, bringing that gaze into alignment. Finding that drishti point. Breathing deeply here. Bring the right hand back behind you. Left hand to your right knee. Inhale a little taller through your spine. Exhale, take your twist. Inhale back to center. Take that left hand behind, right hand to the left knee. Tall through the spine. Exhale, twisting. Inhale back to center. Take some cat-cow. Notice those balance points as you take cat-cow. As you roll back and forth. Noticing those sits bones connected to the mat. As you come forward into cow, keeping that neck long, keeping that gaze down instead of taking it up. We often, as we come in cow, we want to take our gaze up, and that causes compression in the back of our neck. We're going to keep that long spine. Gaze is towards that space in front of us, not above us. Coming back to center. Place the soles of your feet on the mat, knees bent. Bring your hands back behind your knees here. Sitting back on those sits bones a bit. Nice long spine here. So if you notice yourself curled over your knees, allow your body to sit back a bit. Taking that alignment from the hips. Your shoulders are still in alignment with the hips here. Let those shoulders drop back and down from your ears. Your neck is long. Notice where that sets your gaze, your focal point. And just sitting here and breathing in balance and alignment here. Activating the core, let the belly button pull towards your spine, holding you in this space. And on an inhale, start to move the hands away from the legs. Breathing here, finding balance and strength in the body. Exhale, bring the hands back into that tucked in position below the thighs. On your next exhale, just roll yourself on the back onto your back. Let your toes graze the mat as you pull your knees into your body. Hug the knees, take that rocking side to side. Let your head be heavy and roll side to side. Bring yourself back to a neutral spine. Let your shoulders soften just a bit. This might mean unlacing your fingers and letting your hands come out towards the edge of your knees. Just letting your body soften slightly into this posture. On an exhale, drop the soles of your feet to your mat. Allow the palms of your hands to turn open to the ceiling. Arms in that low Y position. Notice those parts of your body connected to your mat here. Being aware of those connection points. Bring the soles of your feet to meet one another. The knees drop up and wide into bound angle. Supta Baddha Konasana. Supta meaning supine, lying down. Breathing deeply here. Allowing the eyes to drift back a little deeper in the space behind. Soften through your jaw and your brow bone. Check in with your neck. Is your neck slightly up? Where's your gaze at if your eyes are open? Are you up and above? Where's your nose, the tip of your nose pointing straight to the ceiling, your neck long, your chin slightly tucked. If you need to readjust on an inhale, slightly pull your chin to your chest, lifting the head. On an exhale, slowly drop it back. Allowing for that alignment. Next inhale, bring your knees back up. Hug your right knee into your chest. Extend your left leg long. Just taking this, maybe press out through your feet. Just one last stretch here. See if on an exhale, if you can bring that knee a little bit closer to your right armpit. Try to keep those shoulders soft here. You don't want to cause tense neck and shoulders when we're releasing the lower part of our body. We want everything to release together. Next, exhale, switching sides. Let that left knee come in, extend that right leg. Next, exhale. Bring that right knee in to meet the left. Just one last time. Rock yourself side to side. Bring yourself back to neutral. Soles of the feet find your mat. Extend your legs long. Allow your feet to fall away from one another. Turn the palms of your hands open to the ceiling. Finding Shavasana, final resting posture here. Take a check-in from the soles of your feet slowly to the crown of your head. Notice those points of connection to your mat. Allow your body to become heavy, letting go of any activity. Supported and grounded here, connected to the floor. Allowing softness and release. Allowing your face to soften. Allowing your breath to soften. Taking this time here to pause. Simply be as you are, heavy in your body, peaceful in your mind, soft in your breath here. On your next inhale, allow your breath to become deep and intentional once again. Filling the body on your inhale, sigh out your exhales. Oh. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Roll out your wrist and your ankles. Roll yourself onto one side of your body, whichever feels right to you today. Taking a moment on that side body to pause. To set an intention of how to take your practice from your mat into your life today. Where do you notice yourself coming out of balance? Where can you root down and shift back in? With an inhale, rising to seated, hands at heart center. Three deep breaths here together across the miles. Thumbs move to the forehead center. The divine light within me recognizes and deeply reflects the divine light within you all. Namaste.